DSLR or mirrorless, what are they, what's the difference, and which one's the best camera for you in 2023? Hey everybody, Clay from Calagaz Photo here, and today we're going to be comparing the differences between a DSLR camera and a mirrorless camera to help you decide which one is the best choice for you in 2023. Before we get started, make sure you go ahead and drop a like for Nico. He tends to get really antsy when you don't, so... And if you prefer short form content, we do 1-minute summaries of all of our videos over on our TikTok and Instagram page. So go follow us at Calagaz Photo if you'd prefer to watch this in short form. So DSLR versus mirrorless, what's the difference? Well, as the name implies, one has a mirror, one doesn't. So for most traditional cameras, light enters the lens and is reflected off of a mirror into your viewfinder. And when you press the shutter button, it raises up the mirror, exposing the sensor, and that's how your picture is taken. Now, mirrorless cameras take out the mirror entirely, so when light enters the lens, it's just straight up hitting the sensor. So does that mean that mirrorless cameras don't have a viewfinder? Well, yes and no. See, DSLRs have something called an optical viewfinder, which means that when you look through your viewfinder, you're seeing exactly what's coming through your camera lens. Mirrorless cameras do it a little bit differently. Since there is no mirror, they have something called an electronic viewfinder. So what that means is that the sensor is interpreting the data and sending a digital image to your viewfinder for you to look at. So practically, what does this difference mean? Well, when you're looking into electronic viewfinder, what you're seeing is a live feed of your camera sensor, which means when you take the picture, it's going to look the exact same as it does in the viewfinder. Versus on an optical viewfinder, all you're seeing is what the lens is taking in. So that means it's not going to represent what your final image is going to look like. So now that we've made the groundbreaking revelation that a mirrorless camera doesn't have a mirror in it, what's the benefit of that? Why would you take the mirror out? Well, first one's pretty obvious, and that is the size. As you can tell by looking at these two, it's pretty obvious to see which one has a mirror in it and which one doesn't. Now, a lot of mirrorless cameras are actually so thin that you can even put them in your pocket, which is incredibly beneficial and helpful. I mean, this thing's not... That's not going in there, let's be honest. Also, by removing the mirror, you're making a lot less stuff go on inside the camera, which means you're gonna get a lot better image stabilization and your video performance is gonna improve as well. Your shutter speed capabilities are also gonna be way higher on mirrorless cameras because you don't have to worry about the mirror getting out of the way anymore. Now that I've raved on and on about the mirrorless camera, what pros are there for the DSLR? And to be honest, these days, there's not many. Really, the only noticeable improvement that DSLRs have over mirrorless cameras in 2023 is battery life. So with a long list of advantages and almost no disadvantages, why would you choose a DSLR over a mirrorless camera? Well, frankly, price. The price on DSLRs has gone down significantly recently because mirrorless is starting to become the focus of most camera manufacturers. That doesn't mean that DSLR is bad. DSLR is kind of getting pushed to the side, not because it got worse, just because mirrorless got better. In the early days of mirrorless, there were a lot of kinks that had to get worked out. Things like viewfinder lag that almost made the camera unusable to some people have almost been completely eliminated by 2023, making there be very little disadvantages to having a mirrorless camera. But that means that DSLR prices have gone way down, and some of the higher end models are still fantastic camera bodies that you can get for an amazing deal. So if you're just now getting into photography or looking for a secondary camera, I'd actually recommend a DSLR 100%. You're gonna get some absolutely great deals on them, and they still shoot fantastic shots. But if you're a professional photographer or are looking to make an upgrade, I would definitely go with a mirrorless camera. And now you have all the information you need to decide whether a DSLR or a mirrorless camera best suits your needs in 2023. And when you do decide, why don't you go over and pick it up over at calagaz.com.